Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 17 of Valiant Effort. My name is Josh.
And my name is Nick. This episode is called Homecoming.
Like a queen.
Like a beauty queen.
Hey, Nick, remember that time we confused Noah and Moses when we were telling a story?
Yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. So I hope all of you got the joke where we had to replace the word the name Nohses.
Now it's one person.
The name Moses with Noah.
They're both Old Testament biblical. They both had the thing with water, you know.
Yeah.
One was on it, one parted it. Same difference.
Yeah, they pretty much are not related in
They're
any
not the
way.
same person at all. Aric has brought his people back from the Vine homeworld. He claims part of Romania as the new Visigoth homeland. Galad, the Eternal Warrior, confronts Aric. Aric and Galad battle. Aric wounds Galad's arm, but Galad wounds Aric's pride. Aric returns to his people and debates with Sana whether he's making the right decisions. Dorian informs Aric that the Americans are willing to give him asylum, but Aric rejects the offer. He wants to stay in his homeland. Volo, one of the Visigoths from Loam, is tired of farming and doesn't trust Aric. He and another Visigoth, Tamis, venture away from the camp. Volo returns with food. Tamis doesn't return at all. After dissecting Tamis, the Russians attack the Visigoth encampment. Aric takes out a submarine and Volo fights against ground troops. The Russians are defeated, and Aric seems to have won for now. But Toyo Harada is entering the picture.
If Toyo Harada just pops up in every single story, he is involved with everybody in the entire Valiant universe, it seems. And just can't keep his nose out of everyone's business.
He's pretty powerful.
Well, doesn't mean he has to flaunt it. Punk.
You remember in the Quantum and Woody episode where you were kind of annoyed that the villains in the story were too weird and they didn't really fit, and you were kind of hoping that Quantum and Woody would just kind of have basic adventures?
Yeah, I do remember that very, very vividly.
So this story is that to me. The whole crux of the issue is stealing food from a supermarket. So I think, as I read this story, I felt that it wasn't, the stakes weren't as high, maybe, and that the story was simpler, but I kind of appreciated that.
Yeah.
I thought that this story, because it wasn't the world is ending kind of story, which it seems like comic books always are, like Superman, how many times can Superman save the world? How many times can Green Lantern save the galaxy? I thought that it was nice to read a story that was kind of smaller on scale and also very realistic too. Like, Eric's coming back with these people. What the hell else is he going to do with them? He's going to take them to what he thinks is his land. And how is that going to make the governments around that area react? I think it was a very realistic portrayal of what would happen if a guy in a spaceship showed up and parked his spaceship.
I agree. I did feel like this was a natural progression of what all world countries would have done. Like America, since they weren't coming to America, they said, "Hey, let's sit back and see what happens, and if they take any kind of offensive measure, then we'll act on it." But they didn't, so they didn't really act on it. But they were harvesting land on old Soviet Russia and what was now known and now part of NATO. And so those, Russia and NATO, they're probably going to want to do something about it, and looks like they did. Especially with the submarine, with the Russians seem to have attacked a little bit unprovokingly, of course, to these people. I feel like a more diplomatic approach would have been a little bit more realistic rather than attacking for no reason. But other than that, I feel like the progression was quite realistic, like you said.
One of the complaints that I've heard on this book is that this was just kind of a bridge between two stories. And so people felt like when they read this that the stakes weren't high enough and that it wasn't exciting.
Oh, opposite for me. Opposite. Manowar, I think, is number 5 out of 6 on my list right now. So
yeah,
it's because of Aric's personality. Pretty much, he's just way too headstrong. He's too stubborn, and he annoys the hell out of me. But the story is still really intriguing. But I'm glad that they are no longer in space, no longer fighting the Vine. It's just nice to have them kind of relax, come back to Earth, and Aric is now trying to cultivate his own kingdom. And it was just, I like this different spin on what is usually let's go save the world or let's go save the galaxy type of story. This is just a nice type of Seinfeld-esque type story. I enjoyed this one a lot more than I had anticipated.
Interesting, yeah. I also like the simplicity of it, and I also like how it's just, to me, it's natural progression of the story. How would the events actually unfold? This is probably the way they would. But I think if you're making a monthly comic, I don't think that you can have high stakes every month, because eventually that's boring. If the world is in danger every month, then what's the point of reading? I mean, I certainly want those events. I certainly want times where the stakes are high, but it can't be all the time.
If it's like that all the time, as you said, it gets boring because you know exactly what's going to happen. You know what the formula will be. The formula will be hero just doing his own thing, and then peril happens, and the hero has to go save the world. Hero almost loses, but wins at the end. Next story, same formula. This is a nice break in between that.
Yep.
And therefore, you don't expect it. You don't know what's going to happen. And it's intriguing because of that.
Cool. So do we want to get into time dilation? Or did we get our rant over with that?
I'm sure that we'll keep talking about it every now and then. So
I just don't understand how he's back in 2013. After traveling across the galaxy.
Maybe it's got to be Shanhara that's just
Okay.
doing some weird time travel thing that he's unaware of. Maybe no one's aware of. But if that's the case, then why can't he just go back to 410 AD when the Visigoths were in power? Why does it have to be in 2014 era?
Right.
So, I don't know. It's just... That's one of those things where I'm just going to choose to ignore it because there's no way I could explain it.
So we're introduced to Mero, M-E-R-O, which is the military extraterrestrial recon outpost. And it's significant in that this lady here, Capshaw, she's going to be important later as stories progress. So I just bring that to your attention. Did you notice the return of Sven in these pages?
Nope.
Do you remember me talking about Sven, the spider alien?
I'm going to say no.
No, okay. That was an Easter egg. But
Well, for which episode?
for the Enter Ninjak,
Oh God.
Sven was one of the Vine in the hive mind.
I vaguely remember that now.
So, do we think that this is the same guy and that he's a Vine?
Since I just vaguely remember it, I can't really.
I mean,
say.
how could it not be? I mean, why would they?
Why wouldn't it be?
Why would they?
Because-
Yeah, why would they use that name twice for two different people?
Right.
So I'm convinced that this guy is a Vine.
That's one tactic I've noticed in storytelling across the board, whether it be comics, movies, books. No one has the same name unless it's absolutely intentional.
Yeah.
So
Especially a unique name.
yes. So just by going off what you said, I am nearly 100% sure that that's the same Sven.
I looked that name up though because I was curious what it meant, and it means young man or youth.
Oh, which is quite generic.
Yes.
Ironically. It's not really ironic, but...
So we have the return of Galad.
Yay! Again, I am excited that Galad has returned, and I've pulled him on such a high pedestal that I'm worried that I'm not going to like him as much as I had always wanted to. But he's proven himself to be just as awesome and worthy of the awesomeness that I really hold him up to.
I thought this appearance of Galad was actually better than the Archer and Armstrong one. In the Archer and Armstrong one, he's
a brute.
Yeah, he's just trying to kill Archer for no reason, and then he kind of smooths, relaxes a little bit. But in this, he has some very good points that he presents to Aric, and Aric just does not listen to him at all.
Aric does not listen to him at all, and this is what I was talking about. Eric's stubbornness just annoys the hell out of me. I understand that he comes from a different time where culture was vastly different than it is today, but he has got to realize that he no longer lives in 410 AD. He now lives in 2014 or whatever the present day is in this book, and he's got to know that things have changed, and he needs to take a step back and just absorb everything that has changed and fix his own personality according to that. But this whole I will take over my land, and the Dars, where's he from?
Dacia. Or Dacia. Dacia. I think it's pronounced Dacia. Yeah.
Oh. I always said Dacia too. Anyway, that he must be part of Dacia, and he will build this kingdom up again, and it's not going to happen, and he has to know by now that nobody fights with swords anymore. They fight with guns and tanks and planes and boats, and it's just take a step back, breathe for a minute, and let everything just sink in and stop being so stubborn. And this is what Galad is trying to tell Aric, and Eric's just not having it. And I'm just like, dude, just listen to Galad. He knows exactly what's going on. Sure, he doesn't. Galad claimed to have seen it all because he's lived for over 1,000 years. And yeah, sure, Aric proved to him that he hasn't seen it all because he has, did you know that I went up to space and I had an alien suit on and then I came back and time traveled? And he's like, what? Okay, so what? So what? And then just as that happens, Aric tries to punch him in the face, and then Galad goes, don't mistake experience with wisdom, and blows him back. That was such a great line. I really like that line, by the way. And Galad's just right.
Yeah.
Listen to him, because he's amazing, and he's the eternal warrior. You can't kill him. You cannot kill him. It doesn't matter how powerful you are, Aric. You cannot kill him because he is immortal. Do you know what those words mean? Yes, you do. Just let that sink in.
Galad had a couple great lines. There's one that I liked where he says, "Immortality is no gift," and he's kind of echoing the sentiments of Armstrong, his brother. Yeah, I thought Robert Venditti did a really good job writing this character, and I'd like to see more of Venditti writing Galad.
You did bring up that immortality is no gift, and this is actually a thought that I've had on my own for years. Is if you're immortal, and what happens to you when the world ends? Because in 5 billion years' time, the sun is gonna swallow up the Earth. What'll happen to those that are immortal? They're not gonna die from that. They're just gonna float in the vacuum of space. What's gonna happen? So, to me, that's what Galad means when he says that I forget what he said, but he says you don't have to worry about the world's end, but I do.
Well, I think what Galad, I think they all are immortal for different reasons. The three brothers. Armstrong is immortal because of the boon, and Ivar is immortal because he was stuck in the time stream. And Galad is immortal because the Earth brought him back to life. So actually, I think if the Earth were to be destroyed, that would be the end of him.
Oh, okay.
Because I think he's very connected to the Earth.
All right. Well,
Not that's important or anything.
That's Galad, but what about Ivar or Armstrong?
Yeah.
Same rule applies to them in my book.
I actually bet that Ivar has seen the end of the world.
I would not doubt that either.
So you're totally excited that Galad is in this, and you want more of him.
I absolutely want more of Galad. He is proving himself to be not just a brute, as I said earlier, but to be a quite experienced and calm fighter with a lot of knowledge that should be heeded.
Yeah.
Very seriously. And he proved that when he easily took care of Aric when he wasn't in the form of Shanhara.
So was Aric cheating when he put the armor on?
Yeah, he kind of cheated. But at the same time, he knows he can't win against Galad, so he's got to use that thing. But he's still not going to win with it. There's no way he's going to win. Because he doesn't think. He doesn't strategize. He just goes for it and he'll deal with whatever happens as it comes up. That's worked for him for now, but it won't work for him forever. There's got to be someone that's a match for him, and Galad's a pretty good contender for that.
Why did Galad's sword stop the lightning sword? Because we've seen the lightning sword rip through spaceships. What do we think our theories are that the lightning sword was stopped by Galad's regular sword?
Why do two lightsabers stop when they're touching each other? When they can go through doors?
Okay. All right. So you're going to chalk this up to movie magic. Comic book magic.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good question, though, because it should just be able to slice right through his sword. No problem.
When you started this, were you hoping Galad would be in all 4 books?
I didn't really have any expectations.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what was going to happen. I thought there was going to be actually just like a fight or two between the two of them. That would be it. It's kind of what happened.
It's almost like there were 2 stories. There was the Eternal Warrior 2-parter, and then there was the Volo 2-parter.
Yeah.
And then they kind of sort of made a story as a whole. I'm glad Galad wasn't in the whole thing. I don't want him to be overused.
Right. You can have too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that he wasn't in the whole thing either, because I didn't want to get tired of him.
Plus, his arm got wrecked.
Oh, yeah. That sucked. I felt bad for him. But at the same time, I'm thinking, he's just going to heal right back up.
How quickly do you think he'll heal?
I don't know. Does he heal faster, or does he heal at the normal pace of a human being? But he is part of the Earth, so maybe he heals a little faster if he's part of the Earth. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember in the original Valiant universe, there was a line where Armstrong was talking about how in World War I, both his legs were blown off, and it took like 3 or 4 years for them to regrow, and he wasn't able to learn the Charleston. So they may heal. They may have accelerated healing, but it may take a while. I don't know. The next time we see him, he might be wearing a cast.
He won't. He will not heal as fast as Bloodshot.
That's right.
That I know.
Yeah. I also want to mention, because I just talked about how I thought Robert Venditti did a great job writing the character. All 4 of these books, 1 artist, which is nice. We haven't gotten that.
All 4 of these was 1 artist?
That's right.
That's good.
And it was Lee Garbett, and I thought the art was very solid, very good all the way through.
I think the art fit very well with the motif of the story, too.
Yeah.
Like the way that Erica's drawn, it's kind of blocky and looks dirty.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what his personality is. The same with Galad, and I think it fit very well. I'm going to go back to when Galad was talking about the experiences that he's had and that nothing that Aric said could surprise him. He said Christ was nailed at Golgotha.
Golgotha, yeah.
Is that what really happened, or was it a different place?
No, that's what happened.
Is that what happened? Because I thought that was would have been an interesting thing where it's like, oh, it was supposed to be in Bethlehem, but it actually happened in Golgotha.
No, he was born in Bethlehem, but...
Was he born in Bethlehem or Nazareth?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
That's a question that I've always wondered. Anyway,
Yeah, it's Golgotha is a hill near Jerusalem where Jesus was crucified. Yep.
The end of the fight, after Galad gets his arm broken, he has one last piece of advice for Aric. It was great symbolism there when Galad said, "In your race to trample your enemies, you'll tread on everything else as well, even the things you desire most of all." And right after that, we notice that Aric has stepped on his father's crown, which is great symbolism that should Aric continue on this path that he is inevitably going to be going on, he's going to ruin everything that he is trying to accomplish. And, Glad tried. He tried hard enough, and Aric's just not hearing it. And so this picture where Aric is just hunching over the crown, that is going to be his fate in this story. And
before you send angry tweets at us, Nick knows that it's his uncle's crown, not his father's crown.
I do know that.
And I looked it up to see if that crown exists in a museum somewhere, and it does not.
Oh.
I was really hoping that it would. I was just trying to find this crown. But there are pictures of it.
Well, it looked like a pretty generic looking crown.
It's pretty generic, yeah, no, this is a great couple pages here. Galad really drives his point home. I think he does it very effectively.
Yeah, and it almost, well, it does affect Aric for a little while when he's talking to Shauna. I think that's her name.
Sana. Yeah.
Sana.
Yep.
And he's been shaken up a little bit, but then she kind of says, "No, you're doing the right thing," and he's like, "Okay, good," which is what he was looking for. He was looking for validation that he was doing the right thing. But Jalad's omen will be noted by me, at least. I kind of envision a movie scene where the bad guy at the end of the movie realizes, "Oh God, what have I done?"
Yeah.
I feel like this is gonna. That's what's gonna happen with Aric.
Galad is totally right. I mean,
Absolutely.
The way that this story ends, it cannot stay as it is. You can't just take over land in the middle of.
No.
And the pisser is that the Americans are like, "We'll give you land," and he's like, "No, I don't want it."
Yeah, I know.
Take the land, dude.
But that's because his stubbornness.
Yeah,
he's like, "We're finally in Dacia or Dacia, and this is what we've wanted for thousands of years, and now we are finally back. I'm gonna stay here." And he just doesn't listen to reason. And going back to what I was saying earlier, he's not taking a step back and realizing that everything has changed. If he had just looked and realized that government owns everything, he can't just take whatever he wants. Even though he thinks he can, but there'll be no one left in the world except for him if that happens. I like how the colonel calls him an idiot.
Yeah.
He's like, "Wait, so they're not going to attack and they're actually just sitting there farming? What is he, an idiot?"
Yeah, that's when she's looking at them with the drones.
Yeah.
I want to talk about drones for a second.
Okay.
Let's get political, Nick.
All right.
Drones suck. And we shouldn't be using them to kill innocent people. I love how there's this line where it says, "The president orders are not to fire unless we're 100% certain the visitors pose a threat."
Yeah.
And then she says later, which, if that happens, will be the first time anyone in the military has been 100% certain of anything.
Yep.
That is certainly not our tactics in other places in the world where
Correct.
we are constantly bombing innocent people. And yes, I understand that they put that certain organizations put innocent people around military installations so that you will kill innocent people. But stop it. Stop killing people. Let's just stop killing people.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Turn into some hippies.
Yeah.
Start putting flowers in people's in guns.
So I kind of enjoyed that dig at the president in that regard on the drones.
If I was reading the book on the assassination of Osama bin Laden, and I don't remember if
SEAL. What is it called?
it's called No Easy Day.
No Easy Day. And are you recommending it?
It's actually a very good book. It's not a hard book to read at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, I can't remember if this was in the movie or the book. I think it was in the book, but the guy who wrote the book said that he was talking with the CIA officer who pretty much identified Osama bin Laden's location, and when he asked how certain she was, she said 100% sure. But the guy who was writing the story said, yeah, sure, government's always been 100% sure, but they're 100% wrong. He only took it at face value. And sure enough, he went up to her later and said, you were right. And so that would be the first time government's been 100% correct, if that is a true story in real life.
So then we get to the third book. It opens with a flashback, and there's the little bird.
What? Is there a bird in the... Where's... Do you hear that?
I gotta get a broom and get this thing out of here.
Yeah, hold on.
So I'm pretty sure that that's a house finch. I looked it up. And,
yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a house finch up there.
Okay.
I gotta get a broom.
Okay.
Hold on.
Go. Ah! No! Oh! He just flew over you! No! Get... Okay.
All right, I got out of the building. All right.
Sure. All that for that sound effect gag, people. That's it.
We just want you guys to know that we're doing our research and we're trying to figure out what kind of bird it is for you people, and we're letting you know what that bird sounds like. That's our dedication to this podcast.
That is what Aric is hearing. That is as real as you can get.
But I like that flashback. That flashback was pretty long. It was
a good flashback.
It was several pages, and it was nice to see not only like Aric as a softer version of himself, but also his parents and how they raised him. And I thought that was a great scene. I could have actually read a whole comic of that. I would have been perfectly happy with that.
It reminded me of the movie Beastmaster, the very old movie Beastmaster with Mark Singer, I think it was. I don't know why, but just the setting of of his father hammering the sword, that medieval feel. I remembered the movie Beastmaster. I don't know why. But that was a very nice story to read. Just Aric's beginning, and also the story of Dacia. Someone please tell us how to pronounce that word.
I'm pretty sure it's
that name.
I'm pretty sure it's
Dacia. I thought the way that Aric would tell that story before, it sounded like he actually lived in Dacia. But he actually didn't. He was just living off what his father taught him through stories.
Yeah.
So that surprised me. I did not expect that. I thought, and I know that he's a Visigoth, but I thought he lived at one point in Dacia because of his name. Anyway.
So let's talk about Volo.
Volo's cool.
I like Volo.
I do too.
Volo kind of has a point.
Exactly. He's realistic, and he's making sense. Volo's saying we were in an alien ship, we're harvesting, and now we're set, quote-unquote, free, and now we're down on Earth, and we're harvesting. What's the difference?
There's no difference. And then he finds a supermarket, and he doesn't know that he's robbing it. Like, he doesn't have any concept of that.
Right.
He's just like, oh, they have food in this building. Why are we not eating the food in this building?
Yeah. I would have... If I were in his shoes and I had all the experiences, I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, he totally has a point.
Absolutely.
I like Volo.
Volo's a cool guy. I hope that he'll become a good antagonist for Aric.
Yeah. Do you see him? Do you see the writer making him a villain here, or just?
I think it feels like the intentions are to make him a villain because Aric is supposed to be the hero of the story. So anyone that kind of rises up against the hero is kind of, by default, supposed to be the villain. So he might be later on a villain, but as of right now, he's making so much sense and he's doing the right thing.
I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy about Valiant is that you don't have Batman and Joker, or Superman and Lex Luthor, where you have these. Superman is so righteous, and Lex Luthor is so evil, and instead the Valiant. I don't think it has good guys and bad guys. I think it has people behaving realistically. Yeah. I don't think of Volo as a bad guy. I think actually the question is more, is Aric being the bad guy in the story? I think that he's not a bad guy. I think Aric is just pig-headed, and I think he thinks he's doing the right thing, which is a great sign of a character. Mwahaha doesn't exist. Villains in real life, people that you would categorize as villains, for the most part, think that they're doing the right thing for themselves or for the people around them. It's very rare for somebody to just be evil for the sake of being evil. And in this case, I think both of these guys are just people. I think Aric and Volo are just people, and they're just behaving in a realistic manner.
Yeah, Aric thinks he's doing the right thing because, he's always wanted to go back to where he came from, and he just wants to live his life like he used to live. And now that he's found his people, he thinks that these people also want the same things he does. So he brings them back and gives them what he thinks they want. But as Volo said, it's like, no, this is what you want. We don't want this. We're still being slaves here. And Aric just is, again, too stubborn to realize.
Yeah. And you know who else is making good points? Not just Volo. Dorian.
Yes, Dorian.
Yeah. Listen to these people around you.
He's got Volo, Dorian, and Galad all telling him to just calm down and think and actually look at what's happening outside. And he's like, no, all you shut up or I will kill you. That's the answer to everything for this guy.
And you know what's going to happen?
Yes, a war is going to happen because he's being too stubborn.
Well, he's not listening to Galad. He's not listening to Volo. He's not listening to Dorian. So now who's he going to have to listen to?
Shana.
Harada. Harada's here at the end, and he obviously has an opinion about this issue.
Well, yeah, and he's not even going to listen to Harada. He doesn't even know who Harada is. Therefore, he doesn't know Harada's powers. Both of them are going to butt heads.
Yeah.
Harada's clearly going to win because he beats everybody. I don't know how, but...
So, prediction time, Nick. How do you see, Harada shows up at the end here. How do you see Harada getting involved in this story, and how do you see the story concluding?
I really don't know how Harada's going to get into this story, but he has invaded every single story thus far. So he'll definitely have something to go along here. He'll probably bring his kids along with him, too. He'll probably... I guess if I had to make an assumption, I would say that Harada's going to confront Aric as Aric's making some stupid fight with somebody, probably America. And tells Aric to calm down, and Aric, of course, will not listen, and then they'll butt heads, they'll start fighting, and then, both of them will get a few, blows in with each other, but Harada will probably end up being victorious because he usually is.
He's winning so far in the Valiant universe.
Yep. I don't know what's going to transpire. I only know that I'll find out as time goes on. But that's my prediction that that's what's going to happen.
Cool.
What's your prediction? Oh, wait.
I know. Soon we'll be at the point where I can start giving my predictions.
Yeah.
I have no Easter eggs.
I don't either.
My Easter egg was kind of the Sven thing.
Okay. I just hope Volo doesn't die anytime soon. He doesn't need to die. He's a good antagonist for...
Yeah, sometimes when you're introduced to a character like this, they off them, and that's no good. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this relationship will grow, and hoping that it does. Plus, he looks pretty badass in the wolf class armor.
Yeah. Kind of looks like those mechs in Matrix.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, this story is kind of like Matrix.
Oh, yeah?
At least the first Matrix, when I'll just compare it with Neo and Cypher. Or I should say Morpheus, actually. Morpheus is Aric. Morpheus isn't as stubborn as Aric is, but Morpheus sees that freeing people from the Matrix and putting them into the real world, which I forget the name of the real world there, is being free, but it's not as free as the Matrix is. In Cypher, who's Volo...
He just wants to be with that girl in the dress, right?
Morpheus?
Cypher. He wants to go back in the...
Yeah,
he just wants to be back
right.
in it.
Cypher wanted to go back into the Matrix because even though it wasn't free, it was what he was used to, and he liked it. And he felt
it was easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Volo, if he's going to do the same thing, he might as well just go back into the Vine ship and do what he knows, because he doesn't know Earth at all. And he just wants to be comfortable. But he can't go back there because Aric destroyed it. That's my little comparison. Favorite covers?
What's your favorite cover, Nick?
I have two favorite covers. It's kind of difficult. One of them is the 8-bit one.
Oh, you like the Tetris cover?
Yeah, that one's a really cool looking one.
Yeah, so the 8-bit cover for issue number 18, done by Donovan Santiago. I know that Tyler really likes this cover.
That's a good cover.
The Tetris one, yeah. When you look at it, are you singing the music in your head?
That's the same one I was just singing in my head just a second. Actually, what I'm looking at is how unconventional the blocks really are.
Yeah, some of them are not what they look like.
Yeah, there's no way you could probably make that picture using real Tetris blocks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some liberties were taken.
But I do think it's clever.
It's a very clever... What does that 2515 mean?
I don't know.
I'm sure that's got to be an Easter egg somehow. Anyway, my other favorite cover, I think, is the first one on here with Galad. No, in the back here.
The Clayton Crane?
Yeah, the Clayton Crane one.
You love Clayton Crane's artwork.
Apparently I do. I just like that one because, of course, it's Galad and he's fighting Aric. And Eric's kind of annoying me right now.
So this is the pull box cover to issue number 15 by Clayton Crane. Yeah, that's a good one.
So that's probably a regular one that you could probably just buy off the shelves without any extra charges or whatever.
I own both of them. Yeah. Which one's your favorite? You got to pick one. I'm making you pick, man. I'm making you make a decision.
I'm gonna go with the Clayton Crane one.
Clayton Crane.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like his art.
I really do.
Mine is neither of these covers. My favorite cover is the variant to issue number 15 by Landron. I just really like how badass Aric looks with his lightning sword and the fighter jets in the background bombing all around him.
That's a neat looking picture, too.
Yeah.
It's very heroic.
It's very heroic, yes. I don't think it really has anything to do with the story that we read, but it's a good poster.
Well, that reminds me of, like, I think was it the first or second episode we had? I was commenting on the picture of the sword through Aric's visor, and you're like, well, that would be because if the pictures were representative of what actually happens in the comic.
So let's talk about that. Do you like it when the covers are representative of what happens, or do you just like the hero shots?
I would like them to be a little bit representative of what's going on within the story.
Yeah.
Whereas the sword impaled on Aric's visor in that.
Well, that was just a lie.
That was exactly.
I mean, I see that cover. This at least, like, the Russians were attacking him. They just attacked him with a submarine, not with fighter jets. But
so there's a little bit of
there's a little bit of
truth in
to it. Yeah.
But when it has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in the story, it's a little bit. I don't want to say let down, but it's a little bit.
It's misleading.
It's
misleading. Yeah, deceiving. Yep.
Deceiving. It's because if I were to see that in the comic book store and I were to pick it up, I'm like, oh, somebody's really gonna hurt Aric. There's gonna be a great fight in here, and then I turn the page and it's really nothing to do with swords or Aric just beating the hell out of people. So it had nothing to do with that. So I've noticed that a lot on some of these covers.
There was a time when covers were very representative of what were in the comics, and I kind of prefer that myself. But I think the way that it goes is this whole variant cover thing where they can sell more copies of the book by having these rare variants. So, but some of the covers take a long time to draw. I mean, the detail in some of them, it must take a couple weeks for some of the, like a week or two for some of these to be drawn. So they probably commission them, months in advance, and they probably have a stockpile of them ready to go and say, okay, we can use this one now. Because I know a couple of examples where we saw like a cover that was used as an advertisement, and then it didn't show up for several months later as an actual cover for the book. So, I'm sure they have a stockpile of them. So I guess I prefer mine to be a little bit more representative. The Clayton Crane cover that you picked, I did like, and I like it because Aric and Galad have a fight in it.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
It, like last episode, you had me turn to the first cover within this trade. You didn't have me look. Well, I looked at the cover, of course, as I usually do. But you said, hey, that's not the exciting one. Turn the page. This is the exciting one. And I was like, oh, there's the Eternal Warrior.
Yeah.
And if there was no fight between those two, or if even the Eternal Warrior didn't show up, I would have been really disappointed. So, as much as people say you can't judge a book by its cover, people still do it. So,
and I think with a comic book, sometimes you can actually.
So it's nice to know that if I see those two fighting on there, I kind of have to expect to see them fighting somewhere within that story. So, yeah, I prefer it being a little bit representative. Not to knock all of the art that they're doing, because it's all amazing and fun to look at.
So did you like this story?
Yeah, it held my interest more than I had anticipated, because Manowar is number 5 out of 6 on my list as of right now. And it's, again, as I said earlier, it's because of Aric's personality.
No.
He just annoys me. He annoys me. He just doesn't listen to reason. And that when people don't do that in real life, I try to distance myself from those people.
Yeah.
Because it's just irritating. It's just I just want to wrangle them. So I expected to just be angry while reading this whole thing, and I kind of was, but the story was still really engaging.
Yeah.
And I did really enjoy reading kind of a lower key action than usual. Just kind of like a regular life type thing. This is him trying to settle down. Here are the people that are trying to reason with him. It wasn't just him going out and just popping off heads or whatever. So I did enjoy it for that fact. It was fun. It was a good read. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it was going to.
I liked it for the similar reasons. I think I liked it more than you did, but I like Aric. I mean, I like XO Manowar as a title more than you do.
Yeah.
What I liked about it though was not Aric's perspective. I liked more the other three who were trying to reason with him, and they were unsuccessful. But what I like about this story in particular is that I think that it is a natural progression in how and what would happen if Aric came back with a bunch of slaves from an alien homeworld, and I like its simplicity. Actually, I think it's a nice story, and I know for a fact that a lot of what we read is setting up the next chapter, which is going to be the stakes are going to be a lot higher. So it was nice to have a calm story before the next thing.
Before the storm.
Vague news.
It did say something about unity.
I don't know what that means. I've never heard that word.
Yeah, I'm sure you haven't, because I've seen it on our Twitter feeds, which I try not to read too much because I know that there's going to be spoilers in there. I have seen people talk about unity.
I've never heard the word unity in my life.
Oh, really? It means people joining as one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You want to see what we're reading next, Nick?
I guess so.
You guess so?
Yeah. I'm going to guess it's Bloodshot.
You're going to guess it's Bloodshot. All right, I am handing you the next volume right now.
Oh. I was going to say, it certainly can't be Shadow Man.
It's so soon.
It is so soon, and it's the Dead Side Blues.
That's the name of it. That's a pretty awesome cover, though.
Okay.
So Shadow Man's next. So we probably won't be doing another episode for several weeks because Nick's going to want to put it off.
Well, there's only 4 books in here, so that's good.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of.
And
pages.
remember what I told you about the next volume of Shadow Man.
There's an episode 0.
There's a
Issue 0.
Issue 0.
Which is supposed to be good.
Yes.
All right, I'll hold you to that.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, it's the first one in here.
So the next episode, episode 18, will be where we do the third volume of Shadow Man, Dead Side Blues. You can find us on Twitter at VE Podcast. Email us, vepodcast@gmail.com. Leave us reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Our website, vepodcast.wordpress.com. And we're also proud members of the Comics Podcast Network.
So email us so that we can respond to your emails on our podcast, because we really enjoy doing that, and it will add to our Valiant Effort interacts.
It's actually our favorite part of doing the podcast.
Kind of is
talking to you guys,
because it lets us know that you guys are listening and you guys are enjoying listening to us talk, and
it also lets us know how you feel about these books too, because people have different opinions, and we totally respect that, and we're very interested in what you guys have to say about things that maybe we don't particularly care for. Because if you show us what's nice about it, maybe that will open our eyes, and we'll see something different. All right, talk to you next time. Thank you.
You're welcome.